Alright, so I need to learn to draw leaves for this series that I'm working on. And so I just decided to paint a jungle, and I'm going to be sharing things that I noticed that might be helpful to you if you're struggling with painting foliage, because I'm struggling too. But yeah, so anyways, starting out, it was kind of awkward. I was kind of just like thrown in a bunch of blobs and things. Like, it doesn't really make sense when you look at it right now. But I was looking at the image and I was trying to really like capture the main shapes that I was seeing in the leaves. And I do not have that much experience with drawing environments, or painting environments, I guess you could say. And so this was actually kind of a big challenge for me, especially in such a complex environment with so many little things. And so I was just trying my best to like group them into shapes and colors, and it seemed to be working fine most of the time. And I think that's something that's really useful for people who need to get better at drawing environments. It seems to be like it's all about just grouping things together. I also noticed a lot when I was painting this is that I kind of already knew this, but there is so much yellow and gray everywhere. It was kind of frustrating. It was really frustrating. Like, you look at it now, you see all the browns and the yellows and just the puke colors that are showing up in there. And obviously it's not exactly what it looks like on the reference because I'm learning, but it's pretty close. And if you take a color picker to this reference image, you will find a lot of yellows, grays, and ugly colors. In fact, I made it more saturated and more colorful in the study than it was in the reference, just by choice, because it's just bleh. And another thing that I want to point out is that right now in the painting I'm using a lot of these textured brushes, and I'd say I'm okay with that, but one thing you got to make sure to watch out for is to not overdo it. I think a lot of beginners will just find this textured brush and they'll just start slamming it down on the canvas, and that's not what you should be doing, because it just makes everything look like a ball of dust. And here, one thing I noticed is that, see how when I draw all the vines and the trunks and things, I feel like a lot of beginners, will try and draw trees and vines how they imagine the color that trees and vines should be. So like the trees were nearly black off to the left when I painted them in. They were nearly black. They aren't anything close to brown or whatever. I also want to mention that some of the tips I say in this video may not be true, because I am a learning artist just like you. I'm just saying what I noticed while making this study here. And one of the most challenging parts, and I didn't make it super detailed, is this foreground here. So I had a lot of trouble trying to decide how to fill up all this empty space. And honestly, I think it's all about finding the biggest shapes in the area and then polishing those, and then filling in the space behind that with smaller, less detailed, less fancy shapes and things. And it seemed to look okay. My rendering wasn't top notch here because I kind of just wanted to get this done, and also it's just a study, so I'm really just trying to focus more on the thinking side of things. And again, here you can see how much gray is in here on the highlights on the leaves. There's just so much grayish whiteness in this painting, and it kind of really shifted my view on how things actually look. Honestly, it's kind of mid, but at least I did something with my free time, I guess.
Okay.